Every year, Americans consume a jaw-dropping 55 million pounds of breaded fish sticks. That's nearly a billion crispy golden sticks. This deliciously crunchy snack has become a go-to favorite in households across the US. Whether it's for a quick weeknight dinner or packed inside a kid's lunchbox, fish sticks aren't just convenient and easy to make. They've also become one of the most popular seafood items in the world. But have you ever wondered how a wild Alaska pollock ends up as one of those golden fish sticks on your plate? These crunchy bites are the stars of large-scale production at the biggest fish stick factory in the country. It might sound simple, but turning a whole fish into these perfectly uniform sticks is a true blend of science, precision, and a pretty fascinating story behind the scenes. Over half a century ago, when fish was a tough sell in the market, someone came up with a game-changing idea: breaded fish sticks. What started as a clever way to use up surplus fish quickly turned into a mealtime staple across America. Tasty, convenient, and let's be honest, pretty cool too. But before those golden crispy sticks hit your dinner plate, their journey begins. The journey begins in one of the harshest environments on Earth, the Bering Sea. With towering waves and freezing cold temperatures, it's here that seasoned fishermen battle the elements to catch Alaska pollock, the star ingredient behind those beloved fish sticks. These fish live in the North Pacific between Alaska and Russia. They typically grow 12 to 24 inches long, weigh between 1 and 2.2 pounds, and can live up to 15 years. To catch them, crews use factory trawlers, massive ships that are basically floating seafood plants. These vessels can process up to 100,000 fish an hour and over 200 tons a day. On board, everything happens right at sea. The fish are cleaned, frozen and packed before the boat even docks. These trips usually last 2 to 3 weeks, and life on board is fully equipped with bunk rooms, cafeterias and even TV lounges, making these grueling journeys a bit more bearable for the hard-working crew. January marks the peak of Alaska pollock spawning season, the absolute best time of year to fish, when massive schools of pollock gather tightly in the icy waters. Out on the unforgiving Bering Sea, it's go time. Dozens of factory trawlers, around 60 to 70 ships, race to make the most of this golden opportunity, but nature doesn't make it easy. With winds blasting at over 60 miles per hour, waves towering over 30 feet, and bone-chilling temperatures dropping as low as minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit. This is not your average fishing trip. It all starts with finding the fish, and that's where cutting-edge sonar technology comes in. Right beneath the hull of each ship is a powerful echo sounder, a sonar device that blasts sound waves deep into the ocean, bouncing back from the sea floor and anything swimming in between. The result? A 360-degree underwater view that helps the crew spot schools of pollock with pinpoint accuracy. This system is finely tuned to detect pollock specifically, so captains can drop the nets at exactly the right spot, making every minute out at sea count. One unique thing about pollock is that they swim in dense schools at depths ranging from 330 to 2,000 feet, a rare trait in the underwater world. As soon as the sonar picks up a solid signal, the captain gives the green light. The crew springs into action, deploying a massive net that can reach depths of 1,600 feet and stretch more than half a mile wide. To keep everything under control, tension sensors are installed at the tail of the net to monitor the catch weight, while underwater cameras at the front offer a live view of fish being funneled in, letting the captain know exactly when it's time to haul it up. A single successful drop can bring in up to 200 tons of Alaska pollock, a staggering haul by any measure. Standard, once the massive net has scooped up the school, it's go time. The fish are hauled on board with speed and precision. As soon as they hit the deck, the pollock are funneled straight into one of 3 giant holding tanks below deck, each capable of storing up to 100 tons of fish. But not everything that comes up in the net is pollock. This is where the term bycatch comes in, referring to all the unintended marine life that gets caught during the haul. And it's a big deal. Some folks even refer to these trawlers as extinction nets, since a single sweep can pull in up to 200 tons of pollock, practically clearing out everything in that section of water. But make no mistake, this isn't the Wild West of fishing. The US Department of Fisheries keeps a tight grip on the season and catch limits to ensure long-term sustainability. And thanks to the prolific breeding habits of Alaska pollock, Even with massive harvests, they still make up only about 15% of all the fish in the Bering Sea, a healthy number that helps keep the ecosystem in balance. And yeah, sometimes the crew hauls up some unexpected surprises, like the carcass of a giant whale or even an old washing machine drifting out at sea. But any non-target species that are still alive get carefully released back into the ocean, helping maintain the natural balance and ensuring the sea stays a thriving, sustainable home for generations to come. Of a crew of 140, nearly 90 of them work below deck inside the onboard processing plant. This is where the real magic happens. Once the pollock are lowered into the factory, they're quickly sorted by size. Workers line the fish up neatly on the conveyor belt, creating perfectly straight rows that head straight into the next step of the process. To first stop the head-cutting machine, this high-speed beast can slice through up to 150 fish per minute, fast, clean, and incredibly precise. Because let's be real, nobody wants to bite into a fish stick and find a bone or a piece of skin. That's a huge no-go for consumers. So the next step is all about deboning and skinning, and it's all done with automated machinery to maximize hygiene, speed, and consistency. The filleting system is where things get intense. Each fish is guided through a series of razor-sharp blades on a conveyor. First, one blade opens the belly. Next, others remove the rib bones and backbone. Then it's on to trimming the dorsal fin. And finally, the fish is split into two flawless, boneless fillets. And because the demand is sky high, the factory runs 4 of these filleting machines in parallel, cranking through up to 40,000 fish per hour. Once the fish are filleted, it's time for one of the most high-tech steps in the entire process, the X-ray inspection. Each fillet goes through an advanced scanning system that uses X-rays to detect even the tiniest bones, the kind the human eye would never catch. And right after that, high-pressure water jets jump into action, slicing away any remaining bones with surgical precision, all without damaging the surrounding meat. Inside this system, dozens of preset programs are loaded in to match exact customer specifications, everything from the shape, thickness, and length of each fillet. Before these fillets leave the line, there's one final check, a light-based inspection called candling. Here, the fillets pass over a special conveyor with bright lights shining up from below, making it easy to spot anything unusual, tiny bones, leftover skin, or even hidden parasites. This step is all about safety and quality control, guaranteeing that every fillet that moves forward is not just clean, but 100% safe to eat. Smaller pieces that don't meet the size or shape standards, even after being fully deboned, don't go to waste. Instead, they're sent to a specialized processing unit where they go through an intricate transformation. First washed, then finely ground, bleached and rinsed again in cold water. The result? A smooth pale paste known as surimi. This surimi is the base for some of the most popular imitation seafood products out there, especially imitation crab, which you've probably seen in sushi rolls, seafood salads, and ready-to-eat meals all around the world. It's seafood reimagined, and it all starts right here at sea on a pollock trawler. Practically nothing goes to waste. Leftover parts like heads, guts and trimmings that aren't suitable for filleting are all collected and processed into fish meal, a protein-packed ingredient used in feed for livestock, poultry and aquaculture. And it doesn't stop there. Some of the remaining byproducts are even converted into bio-oil, which helps power the very ships that harvest the fish in the first place.
Shall we begin?
Once the larger Alaska pollocks are fully cleaned and prepped, they're precisely weighed and pressed into uniform rectangular blocks, ready for freezing. These blocks then head into a plate freezer where they're flash frozen using Freon at a chilling -26 degrees Fahrenheit for about 2 hours. This ultra-fast freezing method doesn't just lock in freshness, it also halts bacterial growth, which is critical since fish can spoil quickly at warmer temps. Once frozen solid, the crew wastes no time. The blocks are pulled from the freezer and placed onto a conveyor belt that sends them straight to the packing station. Here, they're neatly stacked into boxes, each one sealed up tight and labelled with all the key info: product name, weight, packaging date, even the exact time it was packed. This detailed labeling system ensures tight quality control and full traceability from sea to table. The onboard packing station can handle over 120 tons of product per day, an impressive feat in the middle of the ocean. Once packed, the boxes head to the ship's cold storage. Basically, a giant walk-in freezer built right into the hull. Inside, the pollock blocks are stacked and stored at a frosty -22 degrees Fahrenheit, keeping them just as fresh as the moment they were caught. As soon as the ship docks, unloading kicks off right away with the crew working in perfect sync to move fast and keep things efficient. In no time, hundreds of boxes of frozen Alaska pollock are transferred from the ship's cold storage into refrigerated shipping containers, keeping the product at a consistent ice-cold temperature. Then it's off to the processing plant by truck, where the next phase of the journey begins. But before those blocks can become the crispy fish sticks we all know and love, they have to pass a strict quality control check. First, a random frozen block is pulled and measured with pinpoint accuracy to make sure it fits the cutting machine's exact specs. Even a small size mismatch can jam the system and bring the whole line to a halt. For every 300 blocks, at least one is tested. If the block passes this first hurdle, it's thawed out and sent to a quality assurance station, where trained specialists inspect the texture and flavor in detail. Only the best of the best make it through to the next step.